Hello and welcome to a special episode of the Coming of Cage podcast. I am one of your hosts, Derek, and your other host, Ryan, is right across the virtual meeting with you.
I am. But you know what, Derek? We share something in common this evening besides the obvious, a disease. That's right. We are both in various stages of illness, but we could
Yes.
not keep that from this. Wait, what? That was for, see, this is the illness in the brain. No, we could not let that keep us away from talking about what we're going to talk about today. But ignore all the
Yes.
sniffles. If I cough in your ear, I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure that's not gonna happen because Derek is gonna edit out every sniffle and cough in this episode. So thank him for
No.
his hard work. Oh, well,
No, I
we're
don't I
on
don't do
different
that
pages.
anymore. Yeah.
We're on different pages. But yes, we're a little under the weather, but we really wanted to come together and talk about this. We were talking about the first four episodes of Nicolas Cage's new Amazon Prime show, Spider-Noir.
Woo! Yeah. So, for those just joining us, welcome to the Coming of Cage podcast. We are your Nicolas Cage movie review podcast because he does almost exclusively movies, but
Until this year.
there are two
And the very first thing
exceptions.
you ever did, yeah.
Yeah, there are two exceptions. Uh, what was it? The Best of Times or something like that? The TV movie that we reviewed a
Yes.
while back, and now Spider Noir, which I think probably more people will have watched. I would imagine. But yeah, just the first four episodes. We're splitting this up. So last week you got our 100 Nicolas Cage movies retrospective. This week you're getting part one of Spider Noir. Next week you're getting part two of Spider Noir. 3 weeks in a row, no breaks for the Coming of Cage podcast because we
That's
usually
right.
release every other week.
That's right. We're going hardcore for you, our most loyal fan,
That's right. We love you.
singular, because you're the best. You know who you are. We're not going to name you in case there's more
Yeah,
than one fan, but just know that you are our only fan and we appreciate you.
we do. We
Whoever
appreciate
you are listening to this right
all
now.
three of you,
That's right.
or two, however many.
However few there are.
Um, so Spider Noir, for those who don't know, is a Spider-Man spin-off series from Amazon and MGM Plus that follows the Ben Riley Spider, the Spider. He's called the Spider. This is not the same character that Nicholas plays in Into the Spider-Verse. This is a different version of this character. Just throwing that out there.
Mm, okay. I'm not.
It's supposed to be.
Okay. I'm going to say I had
That's
a
what.
minor spoiler for the second half of the series that it doesn't confirm or deny that, but it does add a fuel to the fire for that theory.
Interesting.
So we'll
Okay.
talk about that in the next episode once
All
I've actually
right.
seen that and confirmed that.
Fair enough. Okay. Yeah. So we'll get to that. One of the really cool things about this, just kind of as a cinema nerd, you can watch this in both black and white and color. It was really shot and intended for black and white, thanks to Nicolas Cage. And of course, everybody else who worked on it, but Nick was kind of a champion of this format for this. So I'm watching it in black and white. Ryan, what format are you watching it?
Of course, I'm watching it in black and white.
Okay, just
But I
curious.
have heard from people that have watched the color and the black and white, and the only thing that I've heard that is better in the color is the actual like manifestation of the powers
Mm,
of the non-spider people.
yeah.
Because in the black and white, they're a little subdued. They don't stand
Mm,
out nearly as much. But I guess in the true color, because it's not really like normal color like you would watch a movie, and it's more like a true spec or something like that. And it's more like a colorized black and white movie from back in the
right.
day that would have very vibrant, overly vibrant colors. So
Yeah, they
that
call
would,
it true hue
yeah, it makes
color.
it feel more like a classic movie or show.
Yeah, I mean it's really, really shot to feel like it's a 1930s flick.
Yeah.
And I think it pulls that off, whether that's for you or not. I guess, it depends on who you are, but I think they're successful in that. Uh, Great cast, lovely cast in this show. I'm a big Lamorne Morris fan. New Girl, anybody out there who's a New Girl fan? I mean, he plays Winston. He's just lovely. But the whole cast is really fantastic in this. Um, Ryan, we don't review TV shows here, so you took notes, right?
I did. Yeah, but before we get into that, there's a couple things I want to touch
Please.
on.
Okay.
So anytime a project like this comes out, my favorite thing is Nicolas Cage doing the press. He doesn't
Yeah.
do it for all of his stuff because most of the stuff he does is kind of smaller indie movies. So he doesn't go on talk shows for most of his stuff. And then for this specifically, it seems like he said, "Well, if I'm going to do press, I want to do press with people that are interesting only." Because I've seen him. So I saw an interview that he did with, there's a TikTok guy, I don't know his name, but he interviews people and sketches them while
Oh,
he's doing an interview. And he's really lovely and wonderful at the sketches, but he got to interview Nick Cage. And then I saw one with a another TikTok type influencer that does magic while interviewing. And it seems like there was like a that was the theme this time. He wanted to, maybe it was more because he wanted to connect with Gen Z. He seems to be bringing up Gen Z a lot when he's talking in interviews about this show. That's why he said that he
yeah.
thought they should do it in color and in black and white, because maybe in his mind he thought that the color would appeal to Gen Z more, than maybe they'd want to see the black and white performance. And maybe it would
Yes.
inspire them to go back and watch old black and white movies, which is a nice thought. Whether it's true or not,
Mhm.
I don't know. But yes, that has been great. I love watching all those interviews. So that's been fun. But also, I do want to say, um, you know, I work in a job that has a good amount of Gen Z folks at the job. And I do talk about Nick Cage from time to time. They know I do this podcast and everything. And you know, they haven't expressed a ton of interest. But then they've gone way beyond me. And of course, we're trying to space out the episodes a little bit. So, there's that. But they've gone beyond me in terms of the episode count, and they've been telling me how much they're enjoying it. Um, so that's been
It's
really
great.
cool. That
Yeah.
this is bringing in new fans for Nicolas Cage. And they're fine. I think they're finally maybe seeing some of the hype. For the Gen
Mhm.
Z people, maybe the '90s. His Holy Trinity and some of that stuff was before their time. So, they're not necessarily interested in going back, but maybe they will after seeing this body of work. So yeah, I think that's really cool. Just wanted to touch on that.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. Sorry, my mic is moving on me here. Let me just adjust this a little bit. Apologies. No, I think that's really awesome. And I think the black and white color of it does kind of bring an accessibility to it. It can be hard to tell someone, no, just go watch some movies from the 30s, because it's like, well, what am I supposed to go watch? Yeah, there's Casablanca, but like what else am I supposed to go see? This does provide an easy in, right? You watch it in color, you think it's really cool. You're like, oh, I'm going to watch this again. Let me see what it looks like in black and white. And then if you watch that and you like it, now you have some extra motivation to go and check out some older flicks. So I think that is a really great idea. I'm curious to see if it works. I'm on board with it. And for those who don't know, we're not Gen Z. We're just a tad too old
Yeah,
for
I think
Gen Z.
we're technically millennials, or like elder millennials, or
Elder,
like
elder millennials,
Gen
zennials.
Gen Y, whatever. I don't know all the gens,
Well,
but
yeah, millennial and Y are the same.
oh,
Yeah.
okay. The Gen X, I guess it's depending on the years.
I'm not
It's
Gen X.
no,
I might be a Zennial, but which is
I'm
like
a
that
few years
bridge.
before you. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not here about labels, but yeah, we're definitely not Gen Z. We're a little bit older than that. But
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
it is cool being able to connect with, some of the Gen Z folks. I do notice that before this came out, even that most of the Gen Z people that I talk to seem to be fans of Spider-Man. And I
yes.
think that has crossed, every generation since Spider-Man has come out. Spider-Man
Yeah.
has been something, especially with the movies and TV shows, because he's been in so many at this point. So it's cool bringing this in and giving us a different kind of Spider-Man for those people.
Well, it's a testament to the whole like, well, the whole Spider-Verse, right? Every incarnation, every side character, every villain, there's just so much there that it continues to be one of, if not the most popular, even in the comic book realm, decade after decade after decade is pretty crazy. And this is something different, right? This is not your normal, amazing Spider-Man or sensational Spider-Man or anything like that. This is a very different character. Much kind of it's darker, it's slower, it's more grounded. Yeah, yes, there's superpowers, but it's a more grounded story for the most part. And this is an older character too. Like, yes, he's playing Ben Riley, but he's also not in his 20s or 30s. He's an older Ben Riley. Even maybe he's aged down from the actual Nicolas Cage age, but he's no spring chicken,
Right.
which changes the fight scenes and things like that too, which has been really interesting.
Yeah. Well, to get right into it, we did not play. We normally do our Keijo bingo for this
Right.
stuff, but I feel like if we did Keijo bingo for an 8 hour series or 6.5 hour series or however long it ends up being at the end, that I can already tell you that we probably would have blacked out the card. Just in the first 4 episodes, we probably would have 100% gotten a bingo.
Well, I
Um,
mean, it's not going to take place in Vegas or New Orleans. I think we can
well, but
scratch
that's not on
those.
every card.
No, but I would end up with both of those on my card is what would
True.
happen,
But we did start off right away with a Nick Cage voiceover, which is definitely on our bingo card.
Yes.
And interestingly, like in this voiceover, right in the beginning, he mentions that somebody asked him what universe he's from once. So
Yeah.
that right there, does this Spider-Man seem like a Spider-Man that knows about a multiverse of Spider-Man to you?
Oh, yes. No, I think that he was definitely contacted by the bad guy from the second movie. I'm drawing a blank on his name. Oh
The
my God.
Spot?
No, 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 no. The Spider-Man 2099 guy.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I think he was certainly contacted by him at some point. Yeah. But I
And that
don't
he's
think
just
this,
okay with living his life normally the rest of the time
I
after
don't know
being
that
caught.
he's necessarily okay with it, but what would he do about it?
It just seems weird. It's just a weird thing to think that this Spider-Man in this universe in this reality knows that there's a multiverse of Spider-Man out there and can grasp that much of a concept. You know.
Well,
Anyway,
yeah. I mean, I don't know.
um, we find out that he's no longer the Spider at this point. He
Right.
was the Spider, but he had a fatality of the person he loved, which is there's no real context given at this point, other than we see a flashback to her being like handcuffed to the steering wheel of a car that was underwater and him reaching for her and can't reach her. And her name is Ruby. And Ruby gave him the line that is in every Spider-Man media: "With great power comes great responsibility." And then, of course, he hits the "no power, no responsibility" line, which it doesn't really make sense for him because he has powers, but um, he is an
Well,
executive
I
producer
think
on this. You notice
he
that in
is
the
an executive
credits?
producer, which is very cool. He's been deeply, deeply involved in this, which I think shows quite a bit. Like it shows the push for the media. He's doing, like you said, all of these interviews. It's the push for black and white. It's the push for how he handles the character is very much inspired by his inspirations as an actor. Going back to Humphrey Bogart and the like those were his foundational actors, and he brings a lot of that into this role. And I mean, clearly, this doesn't. I'm getting the impression that this does not get made without him. There's nobody else who's going to suit up in this role if he doesn't
Right.
want to do it.
Agreed. And so we get to see him chasing some guy, and we get to see his spider sense, which in this, we've seen a lot of spider senses over the years. In this one, he, gets like a weird feeling in the back of his neck and almost, it seems like almost a headache or some sort of like
Yes.
vibration in his head.
it seems like
Um,
it's uncomfortable, it's painful,
yeah,
right? It kind of puts the entire character in this darker corner of the universe. He's not your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, right? He's the Spider. He dresses in all black. His Spidey sense is uncomfortable or painful.
his webs are black or like
The
dark
web,
gray.
which is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this guy can light himself on fire. And he's running from a fire. We find out that he had just burned down Silvermane's mansion, and Silvermane is like a big mobster. Um, in actual like Spider-Man lore, he was, I think, an Italian mobster. But in this, they made him an Irish mobster,
Yeah.
which I think is more fitting for the time period.
Well, and
In
Brendan
New
Gleeson,
York,
who is just so good. I mean, he's a phenomenal actor.
you
So
might
I
know him
think,
as Mad Eye Moody.
yeah, from the Harry Potter movies. I mean, he's been in a million things. I guarantee you've seen him in something. But yeah,
Yeah, when he's chasing this guy down, he stumbles across a guy that's licking stamps and sticking them to his body for some reason, and he like goes past him, and then he sneaks his hand back in and takes a picture, like just his hand into the frame in the window, and takes a picture, and then comes back, which was hilarious. It's like,
that's not from the pyro guy though. That's when he's going to follow
oh,
the
is that
late
later?
the guy's wife in strong quotation marks because that ends up not being the case. Uh,
Right.
but yeah, this is where he's trying to catch her in the act, like having an affair with somebody before he knows what's going on, and he's climbing up all these fire escapes and sees this guy, and that was really funny. I've definitely chuckled a few times in the show, which I was not expecting. But yeah, the fire guy, that's all that's kind of a
Gotcha.
separate thing.
It's
Yeah,
been a few days since I watched it, so I'm just trying to piece together my notes.
it's
Um,
all good.
then we see Kat singing "Dream a Little Dream," which is a nice little
Yeah, so this Cat
introduction to her
Hardy,
character.
yeah, she's a lounge singer, very very good lounge
Well, her
singer.
name is Cat Hardy, whereas
Yeah,
in Spider-Man lore it was Felicia Hardy, who was Black Cat.
right.
So
Yeah, some of the
they're
names are a little different.
the only character I think that is not a Spider-Man character that they've like adapted is what's the dude's name that was the fire guy? Starts with an A, I think.
Oh,
I don't remember.
Addison.
Addison. Yeah, he's not a Spider-Man character.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I think I was watching an interview and they said they created him for this show. He's
Oh, okay.
similar he's similar to some other Spider-Man character, I guess, but they made him kind of unique for the show. He's kind of the
Well, that's
thing that
fair.
sets off everything, so they kind of needed a very specific character.
I mean, I think that's fair. He's not around very long, so it's not a big deal. I do know that the electricity guy is not Electro.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, he's Gigawatt is his name.
gotcha.
So
Yeah, I
that,
have no
which I
idea.
didn't know, I
I
found
called
that
him
out
Electro in
after
my
the fact.
notes, but
That's who I thought it was, right? I mean, no reason really not to think that in the moment, but yeah.
my next note is dead PI.
Right. So part of this is Ben Riley finds out that two private investigators, so he's of course a private investigator, but another private investigator, they were both hired by Silvermane to find the guy who tried to burn down Silvermane's mansion. And the other PI kills Addison, shoots him down. There's an explosion and stuff, and he wants to try and get some money out of the deal because he knows what happened to Addison, and nobody but he and Ben Riley know that. And Silvermane, probably not the best guy to try to extort. Just throwing it out there. So yeah, dude ends up getting his neck throat slit,
As one does.
as one does.
And then I just have Flint Marco for my next
That's it.
note,
Just
which is, yeah.
just Flint
I don't
Marko.
remember really how he fits into this, but I do remember that there's a big rooftop fight. Uh, Not a big
Yes.
rooftop fight, but there is a rooftop confrontation with Ben Riley.
So what happens? So here's what happens. Let's dial back.
There you go.
So Ben is hired by this guy who thinks his wife is having an affair. And Ben and his secretary Janet, played by Karen Rodriguez, she's wonderful in this. They don't believe for a second that this is this dude's wife, right? So when Ben spies on her, finds out that she was actually meeting with the mayor, we find out is just also a huge asshole.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's great when the biggest mobster and the mayor are both assholes, and you're like, oh, I can't side with either of you. But anyway, Ben and Janet they have no money. They're not doing well on those types of things. So Ben comes up with the idea to blackmail Kat Hardy with the photos that he took of her meeting with the mayor. And so he goes to the lounge club to show her the photos and offer her the negatives for however much money it was, I forget. And Flint is her bodyguard.
Yes.
So Ben leaves, Flint is tailing him, and they end up at a construction site at the top of a giant skyscraper that's still in the process of being built, and they have our first fight scene of the series.
That's right. And then we find out that Flint at the end disappears.
Well, we find out more than that. We find out that Flint is Sandman.
Yes, we see him kind of get sandy faced. I mean, if
Yeah.
you know anything about Spider-Man and you've like watched any of the Tobey Maguire movies or even No Way Home, you know that Flint Marko is Sandman, so it's not really a big surprise.
But for this universe, for this audience, this is our introduction to Sandman.
That's
That's,
right. And they named him Flint Marko. They didn't change really
no,
it's a lot of the other characters are kind of the names are a little different or something, but no, Flint is
no,
Flint in this one.
he is, yeah. So they have a cool fight scene, and Ben's not in his suit. He hasn't fought in like 5 years at this point. He's getting pretty beat up fairly well, but does eventually win out.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, episode 2, Ben gets hired to find Flint by Cat.
By Cat, yeah, right. It's
Um
this whole little interwoven PI thing. That like he's working for Silvermane. He's working for Cat.
yes, it's a complex web, would you say?
Oh, oh, perhaps.
Yeah, Silvermane meeting new supplier at dock. What's a note?
Yep, that's a thing. Canadian. So this is prohibition, right? So for those who don't know your liquor history, there was a point in time, prohibition, where alcohol was functionally illegal in the United States, and there was a lot of moonshiners and underground sales and things like that. Most of it controlled by some version of the mob or mafia. And that's what's happening here. Silvermane, a big part of his empire is liquor. And so he has a new supplier coming into the docks from Canada, and they're getting ready for this new relationship. Silvermane's not, necessarily sure if he can trust the new supplier.
Right.
That's what that is. Yeah.
Ketchup sandwich.
That was so gross. So gross. Yeah. So Lamorne is playing Robbie Robertson. He's a reporter, right? So he's taking his photos. He's writing his stuff. He's a journalist, and he's also poor. Everybody's
Yes.
poor. It's the Great Depression, right? Well, everybody's Silvermane is poor, and so yeah, he opens his fridge. He's got nothing in there. He's got ketchup and a slice of bread. And even though I'm watching it in black and white, it was still gross.
Yep.
I feel
And so
bad for Lamorne.
Ben Riley has to he's going to go investigate what happened to Flint. So he goes to Flint's apartment and he stumbles across a photo of a military unit and recognizes Flint and he recognizes Addison, I believe, in this photo. Or maybe when he brings it back
Yeah,
to Janet together.
I did really like this scene though, because he has to hide in the closet and he left his hat out on the table, and he's really, one of the things I like about this portrayal is the character, the spider, is really like technically good with his webbing.
Yeah.
It feels a lot less reckless or like big. Everything's very kind of subtle and gentle and nuanced in his ability to use the webbing. Like he's been doing this for a really long time.
Yeah.
So he's able to grab the hat with like no sound. Nobody notices the movement or anything like that. Later he does it to like a door lock and stuff. Like it's very like subtle stuff.
Yes,
which is cool. I like that
agreed. But it does leave some water on the table, and the guy has
because
to
he's
get
sweating.
suspicious. Yes.
Yeah.
Um, Tai Chi ambush. That's my
Oh
next note.
God.
Was this was at his place?
This is at his place.
Because
Yeah, a
Silvermane wanted
couple.
to talk to him or something, right?
That's right. So a couple of Silvermane's goons, the two idiot goons, right? One's like
Right.
dumb and the other's like really dumb, which is a bit of a trope, but it's when it's pulled off well, I'm fine with it. And so yeah, Nick's going like his reflex is to shoot him with the webs, but he realizes that they'll figure out who he is, so he just pretends he's doing Tai Chi and then smacks the guy with the toaster.
Yeah. It was pretty funny.
I loved it. I thought it was great. I
Threatening
laughed.
threatening secretary,
Yeah, I mean they're trying to find Ben Riley, so they go to his place of
Janet, you
work
know.
and yeah, they destroy the place and they threaten her with a gun and she quits.
Yeah, and so yeah. So he decides he needs to get his spider suit back. So what does he do,
This is
Derek?
so great. I love this scene so much. So this is the first time we realize that like he doesn't live in that like we've seen the clip of him hiding it away
Yeah.
when he gave it up, when he gave up the spider 5 years earlier, he put it inside of a wall. We knew that, but we didn't really know where that was. I didn't know it wasn't where he was currently living. So that was an interesting reveal. So he has to pretend to be a maintenance worker and he's going to go fix the plumbing in this poor couple's bathroom, which is where he's hidden his spider stuff. And the guy's kind of a doofus, and Nick's being Nick, which is great. It's just,
He's doing this whole character that's like
yeah.
very, if you've watched any of the interviews, he said he was like 30% Bugs Bunny and like 80%. I don't remember what the name of the noir actor he
Humphrey
mentioned was.
Bogart.
Humphrey Bogart, yeah.
Yeah.
And so this was clearly like 28 of the 30% that he said because he was like full on Looney Tune.
It was great. I thought it was so funny, and he's having a talk while he's in there because he has to destroy the wall. He hit it inside the wall, and this poor couple is standing out, like wondering what's going on, and then he, leaves out the window
And this
like you
what's
do.
funny is this couple, I'm pretty sure, is the same couple that we see in episode 4
Yes.
during the fight with Gigawatt or whatever. That he's like, I told when she's like, you still got it.
Yeah, no, that's
I
absolutely
thought that
them.
was a funny thing.
Yeah.
Um,
I hope they keep showing up like every like third episode.
randomly, yeah. Fire guy wife interview.
Fire Guy wife. Yes, yeah. So
Oh, this is when he
so
goes in and says, you need to leave town or whatever. She's like, for $1,000, I'll leave town.
well, that's a little bit later because
Oh, was that later?
Lamorne, Robbie
Oh,
has
that's
to do
right.
this too. Because like so we find out that there's kind of this area. I mean, you could kind of call it like a Skid Row kind of thing. It's a lot of like shack houses and clearly people who have been hit extremely hard by the depression. And he's going there to find Addison's wife. And he does find where they live, and this is where we're introduced to Lonnie Lincoln, played by Abraham Papula, who is just fantastic in this role. He's been in a bunch of stuff. I'm sure everybody's seen him in something. So Robbie is pointed to this super fancy hotel where Addison's wife apparently goes to spend all the money that he makes doing whatever it is that he does. And so he interviews her there. She's not going to say who hired Addison to kill Silvermane, right? Makes sense. And so Nick eventually does go there, but I think that's a little bit later, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's episode 3.
Yeah. Yeah. So at
Um,
this point, it's just Robbie.
Spider-Man chase scene. I don't remember what that was.
Okay. Is this the car chase scene?
Yes, yeah. This is the
Yeah. So
first
this
time
is
we
what
really get to see him kind of suit up, so that was cool.
it is. And what's interesting is this is the original set photos that were released
Yeah,
are from this scene. The very first looks we actually got were from this scene. So that was fun. But yeah, he's trying to get to Silvermane to basically, which like in universe is a little funny that Silvermane's not that interested to find out who's under the mask. Because the whole point of the spider doing this is to get Silvermane to leave Ben Riley alone. And at no point is Silvermane like, "Are you Ben Riley?"
Well, he's not rich because he's smart.
He's pretty smart. I mean, he's not an idiot.
And then yeah, we end the episode with like a warning to Silvermane from
It's
somebody,
a
I assume.
it's a good fight scene though. Like I really liked it a lot. Like he's got a, he's hanging on the top of a car that's being shot through. He's shooting like again like technical web use, shooting web through a bullet hole through through the roof of the car to get to the steering wheel. Using objects as weapons with the webbing and everything. I thought it was a really cool way to do this with a character who's clearly older.
Yeah,
He's not your Tom Holland or even your Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man. This is a 50-year-old superhero,
right.
you know. But it was pretty cool. And then, he gets in the sea. He's got some type of voice changer going on. I'm
There is a
curious.
weird modulation, but it's very obvious that it's Nick. Like,
Sure. Yeah. I'm technically curious what that is because we haven't seen a device
no, I
in
think
the
it's just
mask.
he's like changing his voice is what it's supposed to be. But
That's
it's
just part of his abilities is he
yeah,
can
I
just do
guess.
that. Okay.
One thing I do want to touch on is that in the set photos and things like that, early on, it was not clear how detailed his mask is. It looked like it was just like a ski mask with
Yeah.
some lenses on it, but the actual detailing of the fabric is very much like a Tobey Maguire or Tom Holland or whatever, the normal Spider-Man mask that has like the webs. But
Yep.
they're all done so subtly that I don't know if you can see it as well in the color, maybe you can, but in the black and white, it's just like the contrast is different on the webs and it looks really cool throughout these scenes. So I want to shout out the costume designer on that. That's a cool touch.
Yeah, I mean it looks great. This is a cosplay I've wanted to do since Into the Spider-Verse, and now I have like actual real world photographs that I can go off of, but the mask is harder than I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, good luck.
I know, right? So we'll see. We'll see. I've got some time, but
Yeah. So what was the deal with the warning to Silvermane, Derek, at the end of the episode?
what was the deal with the
Yeah,
warning to
who's
Silverman?
warning Silvermane at the end of the episode? Was it the spider?
Which scene are you talking about? Like in the car?
I don't know. This it just says warning to Silvermane. I don't
I mean,
remember.
I mean, the whole point of the fight is that the spider is basically threatening Silvermane. Like, look, I don't want to be out here. I'm done, but you got to leave Ben and Janet alone.
Okay,
You leave them alone, I'll leave you alone.
got it. Okay. So that brings us into episode 3.
Yes.
We get our first Silvermane Ben Riley meeting, like face to face in his little abode there, his little workshop.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like he's threatened by the spider, and the next day he's like, "Fine, I'll just hire Ben Riley."
Right. And he gives him a bunch of money.
Yeah,
He
he
wants him to
does.
find the rat. He's got a rat in his crew, and he wants to find, and he's already got a guy in his crew trying to figure it out, but he's trying to figure it out, or he's trying to see if somebody else can figure it out quicker.
I do really like seeing these two actors playing against each other. They're fairly close in age. Brendan's a little bit older, but they're both just really good, and they're having this conversation every time they talk. They're saying things that are unsaid, right? They're giving each other little bits of wisdom that come back in later conversations and later scenes, and they're almost just like building this like code language with each other that I just found really interesting because that's not with any of the other pairings on the show.
Yeah.
I found that really cool.
So when he leaves, Nick is looking at the bills, or Ben Riley, excuse me, is looking at the bills and notices that they're marked,
Yeah.
which is important for the rest of the episode. So he wants to figure out what's going on, find out who the rat is. So he goes to a place where a bunch of the police got injured, or where they're like, I guess a hospital, some sort of field hospital,
Yep.
where there's a bunch of injured police officers, and he pretends to be from some like union or something.
Well,
Um,
because we find out that Nick accidentally or Ben accidentally screwed up a sting. That the police, who are supposed to be in Silvermane's pocket, were actually going to bust him at this liquor exchange. But the spider delayed him. And so a bunch of his dudes got caught, but he didn't get caught.
right, and a bunch of them got injured. A bunch of the police officers got injured. So he's trying to figure out who sent the order to do this. And so he
Right.
goes into this like heavy transatlantic accent,
This
kind
is
of playing
great.
this character. Yeah. Um,
I mean, it fits the time. It's another like concept that fits the time period, right? Like Nick is really well versed in this era of cinema, and he has a lot of inspiration to pull from for that reason. And so, yeah, he's that transatlantic voice, like that was a whole thing, and you hear it a lot in a lot of like it's done in a lot of parody type stuff these days. You'll get it like in Fallout, for example, or maybe even like Starship Troopers. But it was actually just like a thing in radio back during that time period, and he just goes right into it. It was great.
for sure. And again, it was him like playing another character, which he
Right.
does in this. Police raid. I think maybe this is referencing or is this talking about when they're raiding that poor area? Yeah. So the police come in to raid this area of New York that's kind of, a lot of like homeless people.
That's where
Um,
Addison's family was, like where his
right.
house was. Yeah.
And in this area, it turns out Flint Marko is hiding, and another character, what was his name? Lonnie Lincoln.
Yeah.
Who is he supposed to be? Lizard? I don't know who he's supposed to be.
Rhino.
Rhino. Oh, he's Rhino. Okay,
I think so.
he seems very scaly for a
Oh,
Rhino.
Tombstone. He's Tombstone. Sorry. Sorry. Voice from beyond the walls.
Tombstone.
Tombstone. He's
Okay,
playing Tombstone. Sorry.
got
Yes,
it.
he's there. That's who Robbie originally talked to was Lonnie. And we hadn't really seen his abilities yet, but we do get to see them here.
Yes, and uh, Robbie takes a bunch of pictures. Amazing photos for that era of camera. I mean, these turned out amazing.
Robbie's got
Um,
skills, man.
yeah, he
Pulitzer
does.
Prize,
He literally
in his
got the two of
future.
them posing together, like up in front of the camera. It's crazy.
I
Um,
really like that shot.
but yeah, he goes and develops these pictures at Ben's place, and they recognize Lonnie Lincoln also is in the photo with the POWs.
Right. So it's starting to come together now that all these guys had something happen together.
Right. And so yeah, this is when Nick goes and talks to the guy's Addison's wife and says he's going to pay her to leave town. She says $1,000 that she'll leave town, and he says, "Sure, I just got to get the money."
Well, because I guess we didn't really dive into like the details of this, but it's turning out that Kat Hardy is the one who hired Addison to kill Silvermane, and Ben doesn't want to turn in Kat. So he's trying to find ways to protect her. And he thinks that if he can get Addison's wife out of town, then it's one less string connected.
Exactly. He befriends a minor, which is also on our bingo card, but we've already seen him interact with this kid, so it's not like a brand new thing. But
Yeah, little
um,
Frankie.
he pays this kid Frankie to hang out at his apartment and like dresses him. So there's like a silhouette of the window where he's being watched by some of Silvermane's goons.
Very Home Alone.
Yeah, yeah. And meanwhile, he's going to go break into Silvermane's place to steal some money. And we get to see that his lenses for his spider suit aren't just like lenses; they're actually like illuminating things. They're like flashlights.
Yeah, they're battery powered somehow. I'd love to see how all that works with that era's
Unclear,
technology. But
unclear how that works, but it's pretty cool. It's a very cool effect, and he can switch it
oh
on and
yeah,
off, which is
it's
neat for
awesome.
stealth. And in black and white, it looks really cool.
It reminded me a lot of, and I can't remember the character's name, but it reminded me a lot of Elijah Wood's character from Sin City. because he had these round glasses
And the
that would catch like
reflection.
that. Yeah, and I always thought that was just like a really cool aesthetic shot.
It's
And
also
this,
something that happens in anime quite a bit. But
okay,
like the
yeah,
glasses are like full white.
right, right.
But yeah, spider robbery is my next note. Yeah, because he's robbing Silvermane. And so that would technically check our box for Nick Cage plays criminal. Um,
Is it illegal to steal illegally gotten money from a criminal?
yes.
Is
I
it? I don't
think
know. What's
is
the
it well, the first part of that, is it illegal to steal?
is it
Then you're
illegal
just
to
adding a bunch of
apprehend?
other shit to it.
I mean, you could change the word. Is it illegal to take money from?
Is Robin Hood committing a crime? Is what you're asking. The
Well,
answer is
this is
yes.
this is not Robin Hood because he's not giving the money to the needy.
True.
So
So that we get to see Flint and Kat together, and we find out that not only are they bodyguards, but they're also lovers.
woohoo!
And I think this is when he like busts a hole in her wall randomly.
Yeah, he's clearly struggling. So part of the thread through here is that his powers and Lonnie's powers they started showing up about 6 months ago, and they're getting worse. And what they mean by that is it's harder for them to control it. And for Flint, he can't necessarily change back all the way. He'll have chunks of his face and stuff that still look like sand, and he's getting clearly very frustrated. And one of the big points about him that's made throughout the show so far is how loyal he is.
Right.
And so I mean, he's Silvermane's guy, and Kat is asking him to betray Silvermane and run away with her.
Right. And he's all for it, but then he like has a big emotional outburst and blasts through the wall and realizes he can't control himself. So, they probably shouldn't he shouldn't go off with her and put her in danger.
Right.
Um, Mayor meeting is my next note. Who was meeting the mayor?
I mean, was this at the restaurant at the
This is
table?
this is on the third episode. No,
I know, but I watched 1 and 2 together and 3 and 4 together. So,
that the one
uh,
you're talking about between Silvermane and like the police chief and the mayor was fourth episode.
mayor meeting?
Yeah, I met with the mayor. Somebody met with the mayor. I don't know. Clearly wasn't that important.
Sorry, I'm not
Um.
sure.
But at the end of this episode, so Kat decides to run away anyway,
Yes,
and
yes, yeah.
so Ben Riley goes and tries to stop her at the train place, the train station,
Station,
the place where the train shop.
the trade shop. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and then yeah, Silvermane's goons show up to the train station, and we had this other guy that we mentioned that earlier that was also supposed to be it works for Silvermane that was supposed to be figuring out who the rat was. And earlier in the episode, Ben Riley had taken some money from him because he wanted Ben to share any information that he had
Right. And
with
this
this
is
other
Winston. This
guy,
is like
Winston.
Silvermane's like right hand man.
Right.
Yeah.
And so Nick had done that, or Ben had done that, and taken the money and taken note of the marked bills because he noticed that Silvermane marks his bills depending on who he gives the money to. So yeah, they get grabbed by Silvermane's goons, and the Winston dude is trying to confront, Kat and make it look like she's the one that's the rat, which she is. But he's he's trying to make it. He's trying to prove that point. But Ben has set up this elaborate thing to make it look like Winston is the rat. And
Hmm.
so as soon as he shows that to Silvermane shoots Winston and he falls into an already dug grave. And then the episode ends with another random shot at someone else. And we don't know who.
Yes. It's all done through the marked money, right? So it's really interesting how it all comes together. So what ends up happening is when Ben gets the money from Winston, he's able to see how Winston's money is marked. Then when he breaks into Silvermane's, he steals the bills that don't have a mark yet and marks them himself to match Winston's. Then he uses that money to pay Addison's wife. So it looks like Winston paid off Addison's wife. It's very, very wild, like a crazy plan. But it works. It works. Winston and then the other bullets for his buddy. I forget his buddy's name.
Yeah, we
But
find out in the next episode that the second shot that it made it seem like was going to be a big deal was actually just another random goon.
Well, he had gotten a bigger role in that episode. That was a little bit of the stereotype of like, we've never really seen this person before, and all of a sudden they're important and they get killed
Right.
off.
So yeah, into episode four, Silvermane and Ben Riley are celebrating that the rat has been removed, and getting drunk. Um,
Yes.
but Kat comes over to them, and Silvermane is obviously still very suspicious of her,
Hmm.
kind of giving some veiled threats and things of that nature. I don't know if it was a flashback or what it was, but we see Ben watching this movie and having
Yeah.
memorized every line of this movie
I did not think it was a flashback. I just thought it was him watching a movie.
after he left the thing with Silvermane.
But the next day,
Okay, so this was after he showed up drunk.
I think so.
Okay, yeah, I couldn't remember if that happened before or after, but I do want to shout it out. That scene was hilarious when he comes into the office and he's just completely blasted.
He can't like get the door. He misses like he can't figure out where to put his hat, and oh god.
Yeah, it was pretty hilarious. And his interactions with Janet and Robbie were very funny. So yeah, but then yeah, he goes and sees a movie, but he's memorized every line of this movie, which is suspicious. Like, why does a guy that's this busy? I have a theory about that, but we'll talk about
Is
that
he
more towards the end.
busy? Right.
Well, true. Um, Silverman was supposed to have a meeting with the police chief to figure out why he was set up like that. But the police chief never shows up to the meeting.
Yeah. Silverman gets pissed.
Meanwhile, Robbie is going to Harlem to try and track down Lonnie,
Right.
a tombstone, who's been in hiding since that, because all the pictures that Robbie took and the article he wrote, the Daily Bugle used the photos but did not use his article and but they still used his name. And so it made it look like he wrote a hit piece about how great the police were and how terrible these monster people were. And so
Yeah,
he's
nothing
trying to,
relevant to that story, right?
yeah, but he's trying to find Lonnie so he can apologize and hear Lonnie's story and get more information. Um, we do find out through some dialogue with Kat and Ben that Silvermane killed Kat's previous fiance, which is dark.
Yeah, like because like Silvermane doesn't necessarily like he doesn't want to be with Cat, right? It's about power and control, and so she is his. She is there to do what he says. So she will sing and wear what he says she will sing and wear, and she can't be distracted by somebody else. So the truth is, if her and Flint had gotten together, well, maybe he kills Flint.
Right.
We don't know. Maybe not. Maybe who knows, right? But he's Silverman's a bad dude.
Yeah. And so Kat and Ben are kind of bonding, and she's kind of
Hmm.
spilling her guts to him, and Flint overhears this happening and I guess gets enraged and goes back to Silvermane.
Right.
And meanwhile, Robbie has found Lonnie and brought him back to the PI, whatever you want to call it, headquarters.
Yeah, Ben's office.
And he's trying to talk to him about it, and he won't really talk. But Janet starts a card game, and that gets him to start spilling his guts a little bit.
And she's smooth. She's definitely smooth.
Yeah. And throughout this cat with Ben time, we find out more about Ruby's death,
Right.
that he couldn't get to her in time because he was getting drunk across town and didn't know she was in danger. And so he's just a few seconds too late to saving her.
And that the person was specifically trying to,
Or
hurt the
Ben.
spider. Or her Ben, yeah.
No, it wasn't the spider. It was just Ben,
But
because
yeah,
it was Ben had done an investigation on him that put him in jail for 5 years.
right.
But we get to see the Silvermane. Silvermane confronts the mayor at like some gala.
Yeah, what a scene. So he's got the mayor and the chief of police who missed their weekly meeting. So Silvermane's clearly pissed, but the mayor's kind of holding his own in this particular scene anyway. Because the Silvermane put the mayor in office, like basically bought the election, and he's saying how that's just what he does. Every 4 years, he'll just pick the next. Yeah, he uses the word asshole, right? The next whoever, and it's not going to be, Mayor Morris. It's going to be whoever else.
And he calls Flint and Marco in to smash a table, and the mayor's
Yeah.
like, "That doesn't scare me. I'm gonna keep coming after you or whatever." And he's like, "All right, well, may the best man win," and
No, he's like,
leaves.
may the best man live.
Oh yeah,
That's the yeah, live. So like, it's a death threat to the mayor. It's really what in front of the chief of police, and he
right.
just walks out.
Yeah, so then we get the big confrontation with what I thought was Electro, but it's apparently Gigawatt and
Yeah,
the Spider to kind of end the
yeah,
episode. Which this was the first time we really get to see him in action as the Spider. We got to see the chase scene, which was pretty cool, but this was like a full-fledged like fight against the superpowered individual. It was really cool, honestly. I hope we get more of that because it was awesome to see. Like the way that he quips versus like other Spider-Man quipping is interesting. Like you said, the technical use of his webbing and the way he fights. He does seem to fight more with a like let him punch me in the face style,
yes.
which is interesting. Which maybe it was just for this particular guy because that was how you like got his powers weaker. But
That's kind of how all the fights have been, though. Other than the car chase bit, he kind of gets beat up a bit. Like he's not shown to be an expert fighter. He's
yeah,
just shown to be strong and can take a beating, and he's got all these other abilities, but he's not like a martial arts expert. And
right.
Spider-Man tends to be shown as being this like very agile fighter. And this is not. This is much dirtier, it's much rougher,
He
it's
is
much more like a
agile,
street
but
fight. Not in the same way that
right.
like Andrew
He's not doing
Garfield's,
backflips and stuff in general. Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
Um,
it's not quite the same.
so he defeats Electro, not Electro, and the mayor shows up right then, and the mayor's been trying to get a hold of the Spider.
Yeah.
And the mayor shows up and is like, "Hey, I'm just here to announce that me and the Spider are teaming up to clean this city up." And of course, Robbie's there with the camera, and everybody's like, "Oh, the Spider's back!" Oh, oh, oh. And
Just like that.
yeah, so to end the episode, Cat shows up at Ben's place and asks what happened to his face because he got bruises on it. It's kind of a running gag that like he's always bruised up, and his
Well, because
excuses.
earlier they were sitting in his kitchen earlier, and she left, and he refused to go with her. And she said, you really are a coward. But really, it was because he was going to go suit up as the
Yeah,
Spider. And there is a shot during the fight scene where it's like, oh, she figured it out,
yeah.
right? And this is the culmination of that.
Yeah, and so she like shows up and she sits on the window ledge and is like, "I just want to test the theory," and then like falls out the window. And it wasn't like a Andrew Garfield Emma Stone moment where the spiderweb breaks her back, um, but he does save her, and so now she knows. That's how the episode ends.
Uh huh. It's nice. There are two scenes that are almost the same. There's when he's falling off the building, and then when she's falling out the window. There are these slow motion, top down, like almost Hans Gruber shots, but done in a more cinematic way. But yeah, he saves her, and then they kiss.
Yeah. So, do you have any theories about the next four episodes?
Theories about the next four episodes. Yeah, so these are all theories. We have not watched 5 through 8 yet, so these are guesses. Um, I think. I think Silvermane's clearly going to get pissed that the Spider's joining forces with the mayor. So I think he's just going to kind of want to bring down reigning hellfire, and probably go after Ben Riley and his people again, because he'll think that the Spider betrayed him, kind of thing. So I expect that to happen. Uh, I if this was like a full-fledged movie, I'd say we're gonna see like Cat Hardy suit up or something, but I don't think that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I think she stays more or less in the role that she's in, where she's a good guy in the sense that she's not really a bad person, but she's willing to do bad things to bad people,
Well, that's what Black Cat is in the comics too.
right?
So
It's like she'll continue that. I think is going to be fine there, and I think we're gonna have to see the Spider fight Tombstone and Sandman probably at the same time.
yeah.
You know, what do you think?
So I think we're gonna. I like where you're at. I think that we're gonna definitely get to delve into what happened to Ben that made him the way he is, which I think is
Right.
also going to be something with the POW situation. But I think his is going to be more intense. I think that based on hearing that there was one interview where somebody said that he was acting it as a spider trapped in a human body. And there's been a
Yes.
few kind of hints in his behavior that he's kind of putting on an act. I think we're gonna find out that like when his powers came, that he was basically like thought he was a spider.
Well, there
And
is that one scene in the chair after the
right,
fight where he's like working himself out, and that was crazy, dude. What a scene that was. Like him doing that felt that was some creepy body movement, like almost like body horror type stuff, man.
so I
That
think
was
that we're
well
gonna
done.
find out that he had to learn to be a human again, and that's why he knows like this whole movie that he developed like this whole persona from like watching movies, and
Oh,
that's why he has like the transatlantic accent, and that's why he has the Bugs Bunny act.
very
Um,
good. I like
I
that.
think that that's where we're gonna go. Also, some of that is
Nice.
from the trailers. I mean, if you saw the trailers, we definitely know we're getting flashbacks, and in those trailers, when we see like the way he's acting, he's definitely like acting like a spider.
Yeah.
In some of those shots, so I definitely think that's where we're going, which will be cool to see. Um, Yeah, I don't know. I think yeah, it's because we're gonna get some more like cool detective work and him being kind of clever. I think
Hmm.
that this Spider-Man is not like rocket scientist smart. He's very much more like a street smart and
Yes.
like more wisdom than intelligence. Whereas I think like Peter Parker is more intelligence than wisdom, if that makes
No,
sense.
it does. Yeah, I'm totally with you there, right? This is a guy who, I think it's the street smarts is a big piece of it. He's witty, he's clever, he's quick on his feet, mentally, and all that. But yeah, but he's not an MIT grad,
Right. Yeah. So he
you
didn't
know.
craft web shooters. They're organic, which is interesting. They haven't really mentioned that.
I like
Um,
that though, because for me, I always thought that was super cool when they did that to Toby's Spider-Man. Like, I was like, that's awesome. That's the way I want it to be.
It
I
makes
don't
more
want it to
sense for
be
this universe too because he's not a genius like MIT grad, how's he gonna craft web shooters that can hold his, and do the things he's doing? There's no way.
right.
So yeah, I think that that's a good way to go too.
Yeah, it's very cool. No, there's some good stuff there. I am going to be really curious to see like why these guys all seem to be getting their powers within the last 6 months. Why did he get his years and years earlier?
Well, he wasn't in
I'll
the
be very
same
curious.
POW, I don't think, because he wasn't in that photo.
He's not in that photo, but he was in that war, so he was experimented on at the same time, give or take.
Yeah,
Right? Yeah, it could have been months, but we're not talking decades, right? So since he was already the spider for some time and then has stopped for 5 years,
true.
I'm just
I don't know if
curious.
they'll touch on that, but maybe.
I don't know.
But yeah,
But
overall,
overall,
enjoying the show. I'm loving it.
yeah.
I'm excited to get through these last four episodes and record with you next week.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I'm a sucker for this stuff. Like I feel like this was like made for me. Just everything about stylistically, tone, the story, the actors, the characters. It's really really awesome. So unique. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day about how like I just don't feel like anybody's taking chances anymore with movies or television. It's been a long time. Uh, You've got chances that are things like, I mean, it's just been a really long time. Like Iron Man was a big chance. The Matrix was a big chance. Titanic, uh, you know, The
I'd
Abyss,
argue that on TV they've been taking more chances. Fallout was a pretty big chance. Last of Us was a pretty big chance.
and
Uh,
I think that's kind of what I'm getting at is maybe I'm looking in the wrong places,
yeah.
right? Maybe I'm expecting the big blockbusters to do that, and they're not going to anymore. And it
Severance
is,
is a big chance. Like there's a lot of
yes,
they're taking much bigger swings on TV than they are in movies.
exactly. And I think that that's a really good thing because,
Well,
you
it's
know,
longer form storytelling, so you
it's
get more out
longer
of the
form.
characters. Yeah.
Exactly. We're going to get 6+ hours with these people, and yeah, maybe we never see them again, but that's still 3 movies worth,
Oh, they'll bring him back in Secret
you know.
Wars.
You think?
It would be hilarious if they had him as
Oh my God.
Spider-Noir in Secret Wars meeting Ghost Rider.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Uh, but no, but I'm really loving that. Not only are they taking a chance with it taking place in the 1930s, it's an older character. It's more grounded, darker storytelling. They're releasing it in black and white. And to your point, that true hue color is not normal color.
Right.
It's like everything about this is completely unique to anything that Spider-Man has ever put out, anything that Marvel has ever put out, with the exception of
Werewolf at
the
Midnight.
monster special. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Werewolf at Midnight. With the exception of that, which was really great. I really liked it. But there was only like 45 minutes, and so this is a full 8 episode series, So
And
I
Marvel isn't
just
putting this out. This is Sony.
good point too. Yeah, and Sony, look, they've taken a lot of flack. They've made some bad movies. But this shows you that they can make really good stuff and that they do need to take some chances,
Yeah.
and yeah. I mean, if the second half is as good as the first half or better, which seems to be according to the IMDb scores, it gets even better. I mean, I'm just really excited.
Yeah, same.
Well, we don't have any wheel to spin or grades to give or anything like that. So that's kind of the end of this episode, Spider Noir Part 1, episodes 1 through 4. We will be back next week. That's right, the very next week for Part 2, covering episodes 5 through 8. And then we will be back on our normal every other week schedule with our next Nicolas Cage movie. You'll have to find out what that is, of course. We did spin a wheel for it. We're just holding on to that until the time is right. We know, but you'll have to wait and find out. Ryan, anything else for part 1 of Spider Noir?
Watch it. Enjoy it.
Yes, check it out, enjoy it, watch it in both. I will probably rewatch it in color just to see the difference because, I'm just enjoying it so much. But the black and white has been really fun.
For sure.
All right, everybody. Well, here's to us not being sick next week. Thanks for joining us, and we will catch you next time.